In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was murdered while 38 neighbors watched and listened but did not act to help or call the police. This event sparked research into the question of why do people display bystander apathy when in crowds. Now, I've done a video on this bystander apathy effect, see the pop-up if interested, but this video covers a different experiment. Imagine the following situation. You're sitting in a waiting room and smoke begins to blow out of a vent in a wall. Would you do something about it? Would you report the problem or leave the room? Maybe, or maybe not. In a famous experiment conducted by Darley and Latané during the 1960s, university students were invited to share their views about problems of urban life. Those who expressed an interest in participating were asked to first report to a waiting room in one of the university buildings where they would be asked to complete a questionnaire. However, the urban life study was a deception. The real experiment occurred in the waiting room. As the students, the naive participants, filled out the forms, smoke began to enter the room through a small vent in the wall. By the end of 4 minutes, there was enough smoke to obscure vision and interfere with breathing. Now, remember, this was the 1960s, where ethical approval of studies was pretty much a guarantee. Darley and Latané examined how the students reacted to the smoke in 3 different conditions. In the first condition, the students were alone. When this was the case, 75% of the participants investigated the smoke more closely and then went out into the hallway to tell somebody about it. In the second condition, the students were in the room with a confederate, which is a paid actor who plays a specific role. The confederate here had been instructed not to react to the smoke. They would look up at it, stare briefly, shrug their shoulders, and continue working on the questionnaire. If asked about it, they would simply say, "I don't know." In this condition, only 10% of the students either reported the smoke or left the room. There was also a third condition where the students were placed in groups of 3 with no confederate, so just 3 naive student participants. Even though there was no confederate present to influence their response, only 38% of these participants reported the smoke or did something about it. Commenting on the results of the first condition, Darley and Latané said, only 1 out of the 10 subjects reported the smoke. The other 9 subjects stayed in the waiting room for the full 6 minutes while it continued to fill up with smoke, working on their questionnaires and waving the fumes away from their faces. They coughed and rubbed their eyes and opened the window, but they did not report the smoke. Further experiments done by others, as well as Darley and Latané, shed some light on why this type of behavior occurs. When there is an emergency, the responsibility of the individual is decreased in group situations. One of the hypothesized reasons was that they do not want to be seen as doing an inappropriate action or risk being perceived as doing an inappropriate action by other group members. However, when the group is full of familiar people, such as friends or family, this perceived risk of doing something inappropriate is reduced, and individuals are more likely to react in line with what they would do in a situation when they were by themselves. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to drop a like and subscribe and leave a comment if you feel up to it. Thanks for watching.